No, I didn't say it was that. He said something. Hold on, I said, hold on. I said Mr. Obani said they were cowed.
No, Mr. Obani can never, and Nigerians cannot ever accept that they cow people in PDP.
And Mr. Obani said it is the PDP that said it.
The only location where people are cowed, that they are almost like numb, they cannot even talk, they dare not have a voice, they dare not aspire to collect a position that has not been...
Name that party, please.
APC.
Oh, and all of you are running into APC.
Nobody is running into it.
But you are just giving you names of those who just recently.
Do you know why you
call them bystanders?
Do you know why those names are
celebrated?
Do you know why those names are celebrated when they come into APC?
Why?
Because the APC is a mushroom party that has less than 3 years old. The PDP is a very, very big party.
I hear you.
When people, our doors are so open.
That's right.
When people come into our own party, there is an initiation process they go through before they can even be considered party men.
The question I want to ask.
And I tell you what.
How is it that they are not going to other parties? There is APGA, there is PPA, there is Labour Party.
Exactly.
How is it that they are not going to the other parties?
You see, those people that you say are not going to the other, there are only two political parties that have strength in this country.
Which?
The PDP that has been consistent for 16 years, that has been alive and has been doing itself, the kinds of work it does, obviously needing a bit of improvement, and a political party that has the tendency to change everything in every election cycle. So when you say you want to go to the APC, be careful. For before 2019, their name may have changed again. And we're not saying these things off the cuff. AD to AC, AC to ACN to whatever, AP to APP, APP to CPC, CPC, whatever. These are not the ways, this is not the way to build a consistent and strong political party with tradition.
I don't think you are giving a historical fact, about the issue.
Have they not changed their names many times?
Just listen now, as issue of change of name. Of course, you know why the change of
name.
I
don't know, you have to tell me.
Well, I'm telling you now that, of course, you know there was a merger. And of course, because of the
Before
merger,
the merger,
just relax. There was never, there was no PCPC, with APC before. I mean, with AC, they were a different political party. And so when 2015 was coming nearer, and they discovered that there is only way to remove PDP that boasted that they will remain in power for the next 100 years, was for a popular merger, to take place in Nigeria, where political minds, that we really want to change this country, will come together. They had to change the name, and that was CPC and AC, ACN coming together. So that was the name of the issue of that change. So please leave it at that. I don't know whether they will change their name again, but I tell you that it will be difficult for them to change any of their name. But what we are driving at is that if you have a political party that have been in power for 16 solid years at the national level, and all of a sudden you lost election in 2015, all of a sudden the major stakeholders are all running away from that political party. And when they are running away, they tell you the reason why they are running away. In fact, the last one was a man from the north who happens to be one of the founding fathers of PDP, who certainly recently, resigned from PDP and said that he is quite sure that this is not the political party they formed. This was not the ideals they propounded when they formed that, PDP. Of course, remember that Jim Wood also has left PDP. You will remember that somebody like the former Senate President, and Ken Namani has also done PDP, and that was this year. Almost all the people that are, who is who in PDP, who were the founding fathers. And when they are leaving, I keep on mentioning this issue. They keep on mentioning issue of impunity. They keep on mentioning issue of lack of internal democracy in PDP, and of course issue of godfatherism. Lawlessness, running all over the place in PDP. And you have not addressed that issue.
I am addressing.
Address the issue of impunity in PDP. Address the issue of lack of internal democracy in PDP, where somebody that is qualified will not emerge to be a candidate unless he knows somebody, that is a godfather, and there is no issue of internal democracy at all in PDP. You have not addressed those, and those are still living, and many are living tomorrow. For your information.
Thank you. I will first, before I address that, I will address our 100-year boast that we will be in power for the next 100 years, PDP.
Yes,
I want to now ask you, I want to really ask you, do you think we're not in power even today? Before you can say the PDP is not in power.
You want me to answer that?
No, let me proceed it for you. Before you can say the PDP is not in power, you will need to look at the heads of the government. The only person that is APC among the three tiers of government, that the presidency, the reps, and the Senate, that is traditionally non-PDP is the president himself. His Senate president is former PDP, still PDP in his thinking, in his biography, in his DNA. The speaker is PDP.
He's hearing you. He's hearing you.
It's a PDP. I am telling you that.
It's a PDP in APC.
Would you suddenly call Chivolusegun Obasanjo an APC man? You must be joking. Listen,
it's partyless.
It takes time for you to become a member of a particular political party with new tendencies and new ideology. If you jump ship from your own party to another party, at best you are carrying with you all of the tendencies of your party to that place. So for me, the PDP is still in charge. Albeit not, they are not the ones that have formed government. Now to the issue of impunity. You see, the painful thing about politicians is that whenever they want to take a decision or announce a decision that by their own admittance they should be ashamed of announcing, they look for every smoke screen to cover their madness. What excuse do you have for being a member of a political party for 16 years, benefited everything? Some of us have never benefited anything really, and yet we never leave the party. We stand strong for the party. We are pushing forward for the party. Some of us didn't even create the mess they are talking about, and yet we still believe. Why? Because we recognize that the political journey of a nation requires that men must be stable and that they must reform and build their party. We need to have minimum 2 strong parties. Now, let me spin it back to you. Do you think the Nigerian democratic experiment is helped if all of us, including me and you and everybody in the country now, suddenly shifts into APC? What happens when the implosion of that party starts?
No, it's a very beautiful question. One will want to have, and pray for a very strong opposition,
yes,
in a democracy, because it's very important so that the political party that is in power will not become lawless and begin to do certain things contrary to the will of the majority. I will want a very strong opposition. But the problem is that PDP has never grown people that have principle, that believe even in the ideology of PDP, because if they had, one would have expected it after the emergence of another political party, they would have stayed behind and built a very strong opposition and then wait for 2019 in order to actually oust that political party with a better program, with a better plan, with a better ideology. But we see almost all of them, because they have no ideology. The party never built people of principle. They are all jumping boat. And it's shameful. Somebody has called it very shameful. And that is what you people have built. And that is the kind of instability you have created in the system. There are people that you have brought up, who you have mentioned, the Bukalas of this world and all that are supposed to remain in their own political party, are the one now controlling APC, which is not healthy. Is not healthy, because I told you that they're hearing you clearly.
Yes.
That even though they're in APC, by heart, by spirit and by body, they are PDP.
Now, do you
agree with that?
No.
Can I put you on that? Do you agree with that?
Do you know?
You didn't answer the question.
I will answer by
answer me. Do you agree with that?
I cannot agree with it.
But you mentioned it that they are
I used it.
So that APC, we know those who are really APC or PDP.
APC can know what APC wants to know. I've never made any pretenses that I'm a PDP man. What I am saying is that the APC as a political party cannot be trumping up his democratic credentials by bringing the ones that we groomed from our party and making them the face of their party. That is stealing. Now, do you know the amount of ensnaring that goes behind to make some of these big people come to their party? Do you know what exactly the contribution of those PDP people will be to that party? If tomorrow morning, I know you have. I heard
you. My argument.
You said it
that if you didn't build men of principle that can be snared, that can be cajoled, that can be compelled to join boat immediately, you lost political power. That shows that those guys are without principle, and that shows the kind of people you are building for the nation. It doesn't mean that you are not supposed to have been in that place in the first place.
When we have had the opportunity, we would have had the opportunity of praying and hoping that the so-called APC survives.
Yes.
At least one cycle of election.
And they have survived.
No. One cycle. They just don't want an election and they won.
What's the prayer point?
No, now my prayer point is that when they survive the next cycle of election as a party, then we can discuss this.
Okay.
For now,
and that will be after 2019.
The reason is this.
Remember that day.
Remember the date. Please, both of us come here. The reason is this. We grew our political party. We encourage democratic participation and liberalization of the political parties in Nigeria for 16 years.
Is that right?
And the result is that the law allows people to move. It would have been better they didn't. But what can we do? We cannot force anybody. It's an association of free joiner and free moving. Right. A political party somewhat is like a big train that is on a journey. It will be getting to some bus stop. Some people will disembark. Some people will embark. Our prayer is that, and which is what we're standing proud of, is that the PDP, whatever becomes of our party, whether we're in government or we're out of government, we are very, and to say that we don't have very robust opposition in the country today is also not fair. Let me tell you why. This government of APC has proved itself to be incapable of keeping its own words. It cannot keep its promises. It cannot stand by its own position for 24 hours. It can only keep changing the commentary and all that.
What are the issues?
Too many.
Don't make too much.
Too many.
Now, can I tell you?
Let me give you one or two. So that you will be,
hold on, gentlemen, before you give him one or two, we need to take a very quick break.
A break?
Yes. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back in a moment. But while we're taking that break, here are some of the comments that have come in from Nigerians who are watching the show, some of our viewers out there. Charles Oyema Connor says, if you say being a member of a former party still makes you have the DNA of that party, what of Alimodu Sheriff, who was in APC? Does he have APC DNA? That's from Oyema Connor. Wumi Adewakum says, just today, Kwemadu said PDP's problem is manipulation. Justice Chigonum says, when Saraki Amechi and the rest left PDP, your party said they were irrelevant. Now you still say they are your members? Well, we'll take a moment and come back to continue this conversation. Please don't go away.
Imagine a completely new way to put news in your hand, where you choose which stories to watch and how you watch them. Imagine being there at the center of the news. ChannelsTV.com, the news at your fingertips.
Welcome back. Is Nigeria turning into a one-party state? My guests here say no. Both of them at least agree on that bit. But the other bits they do not agree. DNA, no DNA. How do we go from here? It's healthy for people to move from one party to the other. But Mr. Showman was going to respond to some things.
Yes, there's questions I wanted to ask.
Yes, I was going to.
No, I was supposed to ask you for
No, you asked a question. He was going to ask you, but let him respond to the tweets and then he'll ask you a question.
Yes. What I was trying to say to you is that, you see...
No, I thought you responded to the
I was
tweets,
responding... the tweet first. For the people who are tweeting on social media and asking whether you can leave your party today and suddenly tomorrow morning you become a new